Okay, here we go. So if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them into the chat or unmute yourself, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can. Let me get my mouse going. Here we go. Okay, if you can introduce yourselves, I'd love to know who's here this morning. Please type into the chat box your name, your organization, and your favorite summer activity. This is obviously, I didn't change from fall to summer the last time that we did this presentation. So your favorite summer activity, if you can drop that into the chat so that I can know who's here this morning. Welcome. So glad you're here. We got some berry picking and backyard barbecues. Wonderful. Summer activity is camping and hiking. Fantastic. Just trying to survive the heat. I understand. It has been very, very hot. No AC, but glad that we are getting a little bit of rain today to cool it down. Wonderful. Fantastic. Thank you all so much for being here. And if anyone else joins, or if you haven't yet, please continue to put things in the chat. We don't have any interpreters today, so we can go past this one. Again, if you have any questions during this presentation, feel free to raise your hand or drop them into the chat box, and I will get to them just as soon as I see it. Please feel free to take care of yourselves. We are in a virtual world here, but please, we understand that you're human. Please feel free to get up and move your body as you need, take breaks, have your snacks and beverages available, take time if you need it. If there are kids or pets or others in the background, we expect that. We welcome them. It's okay. We'll give a little wave if we need to. But yes, please feel free to take care of yourself during our time together today. So today we'll be going over the Workforce Development RFA. So we'll give a quick overview for Best Starts for Kids. We will review the key elements of this request for application or RFA. I'll go through the criteria overview. And if there's any questions or answers, we can answer those. And if any of you are new to Zoom grants and would like to do a quick walkthrough, we can do that as well today. So a little bit about Best Starts for Kids. Our mission is to strengthen families and communities so that babies are born healthy, children thrive, and establish a strong foundation for life, and young people grow into happy, healthy adults. We are very focused on equity, and this is our equity statement. Equity is an ardent journey toward well-being as defined by the affected. Equity is disruptive and uncomfortable and not voluntary. And equity is fundamental to the community that we want to build. So who is this RFA for? It's really for all roles who work with children prenatal to 5 and their families. So we are really focused on, giving opportunities, professional development opportunities to the early childhood workforce. These are just some of the workforce that we are looking to support and strengthen by this funding opportunity. So if that is you, or if there's anyone that you know that falls into this category, you are in the right place this morning. Again, this is put on by the Workforce Development Strategy. And we have this here just to show you our priorities. The workforce development strategy provides training, technical assistance, and peer learning opportunities to build the knowledge and skills of early childhood practitioners in three content areas. So you'll see those here. We are trying to build knowledge in healthy childhood development, infant and early childhood mental health, and racial equity. So this RFA just really feels this funding opportunity really hopes to build in those three areas and integrate them together and build skills for those that are working in the early childhood field. So to be eligible for this RFA, you must meet the following minimum requirements. So the first thing is to have a physical office that is based in King County and primarily serving King County residents. You serve young children and their families within the prenatal to 5 age range. We have increased the number of employees for from this RFA. The last round, it was 15 rounds, but for this one, have less than 25 employees on staff that is full and part-time. We ask that you submit a timely application within the scope of the work that's listed in the RFA, and that you're really looking for professional developments for your workforce in the key areas of early childhood development, infant and early childhood mental health, and racial equity. So how to apply for this? You will apply via Zoom grants. And the application includes, there are some pre-application questions. Those are not scored, but those are just questions to make sure that you are eligible to move on to the next questions. There are application questions that are scored. And for this RFA, we are asking that you submit documents. So you will need to turn in a budget, which is scored. We ask that you also turn in your King County W-9, and if you look through the library on Zoom grants, you'll be able to pull that up and fill that out and submit it. We also ask that you reach out to your insurance company so that you can turn in your certificate of insurance as well as the endorsement of additional insured naming King County. So again, in the library, there are examples of what those forms will look like. And you will need to, again, reach out to your insurance company to make sure that you have those documents so that you can turn them in with your application. So a little bit about expenses that are eligible for when you apply. So you can apply to receive funding for prenatal to 5 focused trainings, conferences, and professional development fees. So some examples of that would be like registration fees for conferences and trainings, like 0 to 3 or YAC is coming up. Families of Color Seattle has intersectionality trainings, different workshops. You can also apply for accredited short-term courses for your staff. Hiring facilitators to teach trainings at your organization, hiring facilitators to lead reflective consultation groups, or buying materials, subscriptions, software, or licenses related to early childhood development, infant and early childhood mental health, and or racial equity, or anything that's similar to that. You can also apply to do a community building activity. So an example of eligible expenses would include holding like a community dialogue or an event that's focused on early childhood, IECMH or racial equity or any type of related topics, holding like a community resource fair, advocacy efforts that are related to early childhood, parenting, etc. And the last way would be developing and hosting workshops that are related to culturally responsive healthy childhood development, infant and early childhood mental health, and racial equity. So a little bit about the application questions. We ask that you keep your responses to 100 to 200 words. And the questions include, how does your organization, agency, or center serve ages prenatal to 5? Please describe how your agency's work supports children under 5 years old raised in King County to be happy, healthy, safe, and thriving. What is the demographic composition of the population you are serving that are prenatal to 5 years of age, and also asking what is the demographic composition of your staff. We are also asking, please describe how your organization applies equity, racial, and social justice and how you serve children and families. And we also ask how you apply equity, racial, and social justice to your team, providers, and staff. You will be able to choose how you plan to use the funding. Please describe how you plan to use the funding. So choose and then describe it. And then tell us which one of the 3 workforce development key areas it relates to. And also, what are you hoping staff and or community will gain from this opportunity? Again, you'll also be required to turn in a budget. This is a example here of what your budget could look like. And in the library on Zoom grants, there's an example there that you can take a look at or turn in your own budget if you'd like. And that is worth 10 points. So again, you can get 100 points in total. Answering the pre-application questions, which are required, but they're not scored. I'll go over the scoring for the application questions on the next slide, but that's up to 90 points. Turning in your budget, which again is 10 points. And if there are some questions that we would like to speak with you further about, we can do an optional interview and you can get up to 25 additional points holding that interview. So here again, the questions that I asked a couple of slides ago, this just goes into details about how each of them are scored and the weight that they carry. So you will get either a 0 to 5 score, and just depending on how much we weight that question, will give you a higher score. So like your equity, racial and social justice questions are weighted heavier. What you will, what your staff or community will gain, describing how you plan to use the funding. Those are questions that hold a little bit heavier of a score. This is also listed in the RFA document, which you can find in the library on Zoom grants. So when you are going through your application or reading the RFA, please carefully review the rating criteria. We will have a review panel that will closely follow that scoring rubric. All proposals and applications that are submitted will go through a formal review process. And if you would like to do an appeal, it's outlined in the RFA document as well. So we have about $115,000 available for funding for this round, and applications are due on August 11th. The contract period is a shorter period, so you have about 3 months to spend the funding from September 1st to December. That should actually be December 31st that you have funding spent, that you have the opportunity to spend that funding. You can request up to $9,999. So we figure about 10, there will be about 10 applications that will be awarded in this round. So the RFA is currently out, and please feel free to apply. We're doing the info session today. We will not have an in-person info session. You can reach out for technical assistance, which I'll talk about technical assistance in one of the next slides. You can apply for that up to July 28th. If you have any questions that you can submit through Zoom Grants, and you can do that until August 4th. And again, application due date is August 11th. We will take the month of August to rate and review the applications. And if there are any interviews that we need to conduct, we'll probably do that the last week of August. And then we should notify you of your status of your application late August, early September. So funding priorities, our first priority is to really reach out to small organizations, agencies, or centers with 25 or fewer staff members. The second round will be larger organizations that have smaller P to 5 teams. So let's say, for example, there's an organization that has several teams. They're a large organization, but their P to 5 team is pretty small with less than 25 members. That would be the second tier of funding opportunities. And the last will be organizations that applied for the mini grant that we had in 2024 that did not receive the full $9,999. So there were some applications that may have applied for a couple $1,000s. They can feel free to apply again. However, they will be the last to be considered for funding in this RFA. So if you are awarded, then we are requiring that you complete a short survey reporting back about how the funding was used. And you'll receive this survey in or around December, just to give us some data and evaluation on how the funding was used. So like I said, technical assistance is available. Technical assistance is available to support applicants and eliminate barriers that might prevent you from seeking funding, and you can apply for that through July 28th. To TA providers, they can assist with determining appropriate fit between your program and the RFA, provide guidance on how to best answer questions and where to find supportive data. And they can support the application review, including editing and budget reviewing. But just to be clear, it is not grant writing. So if you want to reach out to technical assistance, they should respond within 48 hours, but please give them at least 24 hours to respond. Again, you can email any questions that you have after this through Zoom Grants. You can contact the technical assistance providers directly by clicking the link. And in the RFA, there is a glossary of terms for a list of relevant definitions. Okay.
So Chanel, can we go ahead and ask folks that are here if anyone is not familiar with Zoom Grants, if you've never used Zoom Grants before, and you'd like me to sort of run through or give you a little tour of Zoom Grants, I'm available to do that. So either by show of hands or in the comments, if you're new to Zoom Grants and could use a little tour, I'm also happy to give that little online tour. If you haven't used Zoom Grants, because the last one you did was with Microsoft Word, so this one is in the Zoom Grants application. So if you haven't used that before, can be a little tricky sometimes. So if you've used it, you know that it doesn't like copy and paste very well. So keep that in mind. Don't wait till the last minute. If you're going to copy and paste stuff in there, please be sure to use non-formatted text. So often what I recommend to folks is if you've write stuff out like in Word or whatever, make sure it's unformatted text, or copy and paste it into Notepad, because Notepad has no formatting, right? It's just text. And then copy and paste that into Zoom Grants if you have to answer the questions, because if you see it swirling to save, and I'll just go ahead, I'll give folks maybe a minute to collect their thoughts and pull together some other questions, but I will go ahead and sort of share that so that I can show you a little bit. So when you click the link, this is what should come up for you. Now, if you've ever been a reviewer for us, you might have a different account. You want your agency to have one account, and just keep in mind that whoever starts the application has to be the person that submits it. You can't, even if you add collaborators to your application, they cannot be the ones that actually hit submit. It has to be the person that started the application. Kirkpatrick, did you have a question, or you just wanted me to go ahead and do this tour, or? Oh, not hearing you. Am I the only one not hearing
Yeah,
them?
we can't hear you.
You on?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Um, my question, I could put it in the chat. It's but so that you can finish your tour. So that's okay. I'll
Okay.
put it in the
Okay.
chat.
Yeah, just want to give a few caveats here, because again, people get into the system or they wait last minute and they think, oh, I'm going to quickly enter my stuff here into Zoom Grants, and then they realize, like, ooh, this is can be tricky. So what you can do is, if you just want to look at it first, is you can hit that preview button. And the benefit of hitting that preview button is you can see everything, right? So all the stuff that Chanel has gone over is listed here about the mini grants, the facts, eligibility, restrictions, right? Things that you can't use the funds for. And then that library that she talked about, that's really important, right? And so you can click on these examples. It will pop up another screen, so you need to be sure that you don't have your pop-ups disabled or anything like that. You can open it. I suggest saving as. It's great to save these things and then have them. So yeah, so you can see, these things will pop up. It's great to save them, because if you want to work on the application, offline, or you need to look at some of this stuff, especially the RFA document, right? Because that RFA document is giving you all the information you could want, and information you don't need. It's got everything in there. So, right, it's got all of the information that Chanel went over, all the outcomes and things, eligibility, funding, the timelines. So always read through that first. It gives you the questions and stuff too, and the rating criteria. So you can see again how that scoring works. Yeah, so all that stuff is great. And then you can still preview and sort of look at some of the summary questions, right? We ask some contact information. We ask this zip code question, right? Which zip codes are you planning on serving clients? And you can navigate by hitting these little bars up here. So little pre-application, let's just make sure that you are eligible, right? Are you based in King County? Are you serving in this age range? Do you have fewer than 25 employees? if you have questions about that, be sure to ask a question, reach out to Chanel, and make sure you clarify that before you go to the trouble of doing a whole application, and then realizing like, oh, we don't even qualify, or this isn't an eligible expense. Hate to see folks waste time on that, if it turns out, it's not for them. And then these are the actual application questions, right? And so this is where the copy and paste feature gets a little ugly sometimes. And that's why I sometimes recommend copying and pasting in Notepad. If you get desperate, find whoever, is the fastest typist in your organization and offer them lunch, something like that, in exchange for typing as fast as they can in these boxes, because that's what you have to do. See up here how the little ZG is showing at the top of my screen here? Well, whenever I type in these boxes, you'll see like a little circle running up there. And if you see a screen, a little ghost image that says saving, and it won't save, it just sort of stays stuck on that saving, that means it doesn't like what you're pasting in. It's got some formatting or something. And so you need to stop, go back, and make sure it's saving each time as you're filling out your questions too. The budget, you're doing an upload, and then it tells you what documents are required, and what you need to upload into those documents. So that's the preview. If you wanted to start the application, you would hit this apply now, start application, or back on that screen we were at before, just hit the apply button. So when you apply now, and click through it, see that saving up there, that little woo woo. So it's thanking, and until you see that ZG, it is not fully loaded, right? So don't get excited starting typing stuff until you see that ZG. I've seen people lose stuff and then they get frustrated, and I get it. So asks, information. And then this is what I was talking about before. You can invite folks to be collaborators, right? So if there's a couple of you in your organization working on this, you can add them, invite them to work on the application. But again, they can't hit submit. Only the person or the username and password that was used to start the application can hit submit. So don't go on vacation, don't get sick and then not leave your password or username somewhere. Sometimes agencies have their own, like a bulk one. That's great too. That way any of the folks can go in and hit that submit button if they need to. So, again, just going through, filling out the information, you can go to next. It is going to save, as you go through. You don't want to submit, until you are fully done. Okay, so you'll go through the pre-application, you'll check those, go through the application questions, answer each of these. There are character limits listed, right? And it tells you how many characters are left. And sometimes it's funny, sometimes it counts spaces or little characters. And sometimes when you copy and paste into it, it counts characters a weird way. And so it's not actually all the right words. So again, if you can type in there, that's the best thing to do. Or again, paste into Notepad. I know I sound like a broken record, but this is where people get the most frustrated with Zoom grants. And my heart breaks for some folks when they're like doing this last minute before the deadline, and they can't get the system to save. And we don't want that to happen to you. So yeah, so going through there, and then your documents, right? You click this upload button, so you can use the, if you're an external user, get to the document, because there are samples of each of those documents, and then you upload it, right? You click that upload button, it'll pop up a new window. You write what it is, right? So type out, what this is, your W-9, or if it's your insurance. And then you choose a file, right? And you go and see, you find it, where it's at in your system. And then you upload now. And again, it might spin for a little while, but that's the system, saving. So always watch for that. When you're filling out stuff here. So, and yeah, we want to be sure that you have your budget, your W-9. We give instructions on that. Make sure, you're using your business legal name, and then some insurance samples. Yeah, yeah, your additional insured documentation. So if you have any questions about that, you can submit. So, so you see Chanel's email address there. There's also a way that you can put into send email. So you can click this button here. So see, I went under contact admin, right? And then click this and you can send email that way to ask a question before deadline if you need to. So, and then when you go back, you see up here, you can go to, my account home, my applications, and you should see your applications in the list there of ones that are incomplete. And be sure that's what you're working on. So yeah, so a quick little demo there on Zoom grants and all the frustrations that could occur. Hopefully that was helpful to some of you. If there's any more questions I can answer about that, please let me know.
Thank you so much, Cherish.
My pleasure.
There are a couple of questions in the chat that I just wanted to read out loud. Are we able to apply if we have funding from BSK through a different opportunity? And the answer to that is yes. You can apply if you've even if you've gotten BSK funding through another grant or another funding opportunity. And to follow up on the above chat question, if we received a mini grant in 2024, can we still apply for this one? So if you applied for the RFA mini grant in 2024, the funding did happen in 2025. So you can only apply again if you received less than the $9,999. So for example, if you applied and you received $3,500, then you can apply for the additional $6,499. But if you did apply in 2024, the funding did go out in 2025, and so it would still technically be for the 2025 year. And since these funds have to be spent in 2025, if you receive the full $9,999, you would not be able to apply again.
Can I just ask a question?
Absolutely.
If,
Absolutely.
yeah, thank you for, I guess to further clarify, so if we need to wait, is there going to be a different one for 2026 work? So then that would be something we can apply for later.
I'll have to clarify. Ibasa, do you know the answer to that when we do the 2026? Because we do plan to do this mini grant RFA again in 2026. 2026. Would they be able to apply in 2026 if they receive funding for this one?
Yes, I think, it's not guaranteed. More agencies may compete, but I don't see why not.
Oh, okay. So actually, I think I'm a little confused. Sorry, I'm just going to clarify. So we received funding in 2024, but we can't submit a grant for this one because it has to be work completed in 2025. But what you're saying is that there'll most likely be one in 2026 that we can apply. And it just, we'll just throw it out there and just see what happens. Because, like you said, we're competing with all the other organizations. So is that what I'm hearing?
I know it's a little bit tricky because the application process did happen in 2024. But for that one, the funding was for 6 months, which was March 2025 to September 2025. So technically we're still in the same funding year. So this one is for September 2025 to December 31st, 2025. So since you already received the $9,999 for the year of 2025, then you would have the opportunity to apply again in 2026 when we have new funding.
Okay, thank you.
So there's a question. I got a mini grant last year, but I don't know if it's the same one as this. Can I send you an email to find out, or should I reach out? Yeah, go ahead and send me an email, Vanessa. That's fine.
Thank you.
Mm.
So if I can add on to that too, because for our org, we got a mini grant, but for us, we had 3 months to use it, so it had to be spent within 2024. So are we able to apply for the full amount for this one since we got one in last year?
And it was the same mini grant? It was
I
the
I
first
don't think it was the same mini grant, but it was another mini grant that could be used for like getting devices that we need,
Mm-hmm.
for workforce development, like if we needed to do any trainings or anything, but we had to use it within 3 months.
Yeah. So that sounds like a different opportunity. So you can apply for this one.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any additional questions? Okay. Well, again, if you have any questions that come up, please feel free to reach out through Zoom grants. And yeah, I appreciate all of you for being here this morning and finding out more information about this opportunity. Please spread the word and let folks know that they may be eligible to apply. And yeah, look forward to reading some of your applications if you apply. Thank you all so much. Have a great Wednesday. Take care.